the Philippines is #1 in Southeast Asia for the incidence of breast cancer. Many people have speculated it could be because our diet is very high fat.
At that time, it was 1 out of 10 that had breast cancer. Now it's 1 out of 8.
The International Agency for Research on Cancer reports that 1 in 13 Filipino women are expected to develop breast cancer in their lifetime. While we've made strides in cancer treatment and awareness in recent years, we need to continue empowering women with the proper tools to reduce the incidence of the condition and ultimately save lives. Join me as we equip you with the knowledge you need to protect you and your loved ones. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Welcome to Med Talk Health Talk. Awareness about any disease or any ailment is key in getting a proper diagnosis as well as treatment. And this holds true as well for breast cancer. We have with us Dr. Alden Astrid Basa, who's a breast surgeon and the head of the Asian Hospital Breast Center. The numbers are quite staggering. 1 in 13 women here in the Philippines will develop breast cancer, is expected to develop breast cancer in their lifetime. Now, to put this into context, this means that anyone can have a friend, a co-worker, even a relative who they know will have breast cancer. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. Why is this so prevalent now in Philippine society? And what is the importance of us raising awareness towards breast cancer?
So we really cannot pinpoint why it's so prevalent in the Philippines, especially now the Philippines is #1 in Southeast Asia with the incidence of breast cancer. Many people have speculated it could be because our diet is very Western, it's very American. You know, a lot of the Asian countries really stick to their diet. Our diet is very high fat, like American diet, and America has #1 incidence in the world. So it could be that, but we really don't know why it's #1. And because we are #1, and this is the #1 cancer affecting women in the Philippines, it's really important that we raise awareness. Women are more aware so that we can detect it early, because that's the only way we can survive it.
Now, one of the more important things prevalent about breast cancer is that those affected with breast cancer have no choice if it runs in their family. If it is in their genes, then wala na silang magagawa nito. Is this true?
Only 10% is hereditary. It doesn't mean that if you have a first-degree relative with breast cancer, you will get it. Okay, 90% of breast cancer is not hereditary. So meaning all of us can get it. All of us are at risk. Just the risk of somebody with the gene, because you have to test to know if you have the gene, if it's hereditary, is obviously much higher than somebody who just has a family history, but all of us are at risk for it.
Okay, now let's talk about who does, or is there a certain population where breast cancer is seen most common? Is there a certain age, Doctora, where people should be more aware about this?
Yes, so here in the Philippines, yung pinaka madalas, most of our breast cancers are seen in women in their 40s. This is why sinasabi natin na starting 40 years old, dapat nagmamammogram and ultrasound yearly so that if ever you get breast cancer, madidetect ng maaga.
What if I'm so busy? Can't it just be a sonogram, or can't I just do a mammogram? Why does it have to be both?
Okay, so iba yung nakikita ng mammogram, iba yung nakikita ng ultrasound. Yung mammogram, it can see yung cancer even before it becomes a bukol. So that's why it's important na we do the mammogram. Yung ultrasound, bukol na siya. So you really need both of them in combination, because what mammogram sees, ultrasound cannot see. So the only way we can catch it is if we do both.
Now let's talk about kung saan dapat magpatingin. Importante magpatingin kahit anong size ng bukol. But unfortunately, there is some hesitation, especially with the Filipino culture. Mas nakakatakot malaman yung totoo. Where should someone go to if they feel any size of lump or mass in their breast?
So dapat talaga sa breast surgeon. So now there's a specialty talaga for breast. We are surgeons who really specialized in breast. So yun lang ang tinitingnan namin. Most women, akala nila OB ang dapat puntahan because, you know, they're the doctors who take care of females. But really, breast is really not part of yung tinitreat ng OB. So dapat sa breast surgeon magpapatingin.
A lot of anxiety befalls someone with that knowledge, with the possibility of having breast cancer. Sometimes they might look for alternative treatments for that matter. When it comes to breast cancer treatment, what is the tried and true? What has scientific evidence of effectivity when it comes to treatment of breast cancer?
Okay, first of all, kailangan ma-diagnose siya. So, kailangan ng biopsy talaga. We need to know na talagang may cancer ka kasi hindi naman porket may bukol cancer agad yon. Remember, 80 to 90% of mga bukol are benign. So, we have to biopsy. Usually, the biopsy that we do is called the core needle biopsy. So, medyo malaking needle na papasok sa breast, tapos kukuha ng laman sa loob ng bukol. That is to confirm na cancer siya. And then the next step would be surgery. Yan talagang kailangan. We need to operate para matanggal yung cancer sa katawan, para hindi siya kakalat.
But Doc, hindi pa ako ready sa surgery. Natatakot ako sa thought of surgery. What can you say about a lot of people who might have that notion?
I think the biggest thing is kailangan ma-educate about what to expect because many people are overcome with fear because of the unknown. Hindi mo alam kung ano mangyayari. And the biggest fear is most people think na pag may breast cancer, tanggal agad ang breast. So hindi yan totoo. Lalo na pag maliit yung bukol, we can really preserve the breast. We really do not need to remove the breast. The reason why natatanggal is pag malaki na masyado. It doesn't have to be like that. So the purpose here is we really get it early para we can give you all the options and we really don't need to remove your breast.
Okay, napakaganda information yon, and you heard it first from a breast surgeon herself that early detection is definitely key. So do not be afraid to visit your breast surgeon if you do feel any lump there. One woman is taking her steps in order to spread awareness through her organization. We'll hear this firsthand when MedTalk Health Talk returns. Breast cancer affects many lives that we often may not see. And behind every statistic is a story of strength as well as resilience. Let's welcome Mimi Martin. She's a breast cancer survivor and currently a senior volunteer at I Can Serve Foundation Incorporated. Let's talk about when you were first diagnosed. When it comes to the emotions that you might have felt, were all the sort of preconceived notions, fear, anxiety, maybe even a little bit of despair, was that all present?
It's all there. I mean, it's like really a big pot of emotions that you feel you don't even know where you are. You're very fearful of mortality. I mean, you're facing it. You have a child and you're probably, you know, that the feeling that I'm gonna die.
Talk to us what the diagnosis was. At what stage was your breast cancer at?
Well, it was stage 2B. And then later on, I had a PET CT scan and it showed that there were nodules in my pleura of my lung. So it was staged then at stage 4. However, it was downgraded because it's found out that it had stayed stable during the treatment. So,
what was your feeling at this time? Was it, okay, I'm diagnosed with breast cancer, let's fight this? Or was there a period of, this isn't happening to me, this happens to other people, not myself?
oh, definitely. It felt like, well, I never asked why me, but I'm sure I didn't verbalize it, but I'm sure I felt it. It's like, and it's unbelievable because it only happens to other people. And at that time, it was 1 out of 10 that had breast cancer. Now it's 1 out of 8. But, you know, it's like, I have 10 other friends, 9 other friends, why me? So,
do you think this journey was something that you could have done by yourself?
oh, no. First, one of the first support groups that really came to my aid was I Can Serve. It gave me a lot of information and helped me decide on what path to take, whether allopathic medicine, meaning chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, or going the alternative route, which is basically juicing and strengthening the immune system. And I decided for, you know, the gold standard because it provided me with statistics that my 5-year survival. My concern was I want to live for at least 5 more years for my 10-year-old kid. And looking at statistics, one couldn't give me statistics. I mean, I wanted to just make my immune system stronger after the treatment. First, take out the cancer, and then I can, you know, strengthen my immune system.
There is some fear with some individuals on taking the gold standard treatment because of some certain side effects, some hair loss, loss of appendages, which they feel is part of what makes them a person, what makes them whole. Did you feel the same way in
Yes,
this?
of course. I mean, you lose your hair. I mean, the hair is our crowning glory. I had long hair and it was all gone. I had to shave it off. And I lost a breast. And I mean, are you still sexy? Are you still a woman? I mean, you ask yourself that. And it's an attack really on your womanhood. But then you find the strength because you are more than that. You are more than your breast. You are more than your hair.
I'm sure a lot of our viewers are really happy with your journey and how it came out. But how is Mimi Martin right now? Do you still get regular checkups? Are you still in fear of recurrence?
I've forgotten actually that I've had cancer. I believe I am cured, although there's still effects of the treatment, like osteoporosis. My cancer was ER/PR positive, meaning estrogen would make it grow. So I had to have my ovaries removed. I took tamoxifen for 7 years. And I have to lift weights, I have to hike, I have to do all of these things. And so far, I'm doing well.
You're doing very well. I can see that.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, is happy for that. But if you could compare Mimi Martin before you were diagnosed and Mimi Martin now, was there a big difference?
Well, I was going 40, I was training for a triathlon. I was very athletic. For a while after that, I stopped exercising because I couldn't quite figure out how do I wear my athletic gear when I have one boob that was less than the other boob. It was so difficult. And then when I finally figured out how to do it, and I became athletic again, I did sports again, and I can move. I can be as young as, I mean, my chronological age does not reflect my actual metabolic age. So I feel young and I can do a lot of things.
What is your advice for those watching this who feel or who have that notion, who aren't so exposed so much with breast cancer, but have that feeling that, breast cancer might be a death sentence if they have it, the anxiety that they have, the fear that they might have for breast cancer? What is your advice for them?
Number one, it is not a death sentence. And number two, the earlier you have it diagnosed, the better. And we have partnered with different LGUs. I Can Serve as partnered with different LGUs that with our Ating Dibdibin program, wherein there are these barangay health workers who help you navigate. I mean, kung kahit na wala kang pera, wala kang anything, libre na lahat yung treatments. From the screening, they screen you. When they find out that you have a lump, they bring you to a doctor to have it diagnosed. After you have it diagnosed, all the treatments, chemotherapy, radiation, taken care of na yan by the LGU. And our partners are Taguig, Muntinlupa, we have San Juan, we have Marikina. And in Mindanao, we have Tagum, and we have Panabo. And we're always trying to partner with new LGUs because women need this. It's the number one cancer in the Philippines now.
Right.
27,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. That's like 75 a day. And most of them 75% of them naman are diagnosed stage 3 and stage 4. We should stop that. I mean, awareness can make people, don't be afraid of the money part. A lot of us are afraid of the money part.
Right.
Hindi yan ang importante kasi maraming makakatulong, maraming sources of funding na pwedeng ituro. Although hindi kami funding organization, I Can Serve is not a funding organization, we can point you to the right direction. And we have LGUs that are helpful. The local government units are helpful.
You've been so helpful for a lot of people here, Ms. Mimi Martin. Thank you so much for sharing with us your journey, for sharing your story, and giving that energy that you have right here, and giving that hope for those who may feel that breast cancer will take a big dent out of their lives. You are a living example that it is something that is serious, that is something that can be fought, and is something that can be won over.
And it's temporary. Life goes on after.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mimi Martin, for joining us here on MedTalk Health Talk. There are steps that you can take to lower the risk of breast cancer, and we will answer some of your most asked questions about the disease when we return. Keep it here on MedTalk Health Talk. Awareness early detection and regular follow-ups can be your most important tool in your fight against breast cancer. Let's welcome back Dr. Aldin Astrid Basa, who is a breast surgeon and the head of the Asian Hospital Breast Center. Now, Doctora, continuing our conversation here, let's talk about some of the symptoms that may point towards or might be red flags for breast cancer.
If we're talking about symptoms, having a lump is the most common symptom for breast cancer. So merong nakakapa na bukol. Pero like I said, hindi lahat ng bukol na nakakapa is cancer. So kailangan magpatingin para malaman natin if it's really cancer or not. But we don't wait for extreme signs like yung naririnig mo na hindi na gumagalaw or meron mga discharge, may sugat, nag-iiba yung skin. Pag ganyan, medyo advanced na. So we don't want to wait for that. Basta may bukol at kahit gumagalaw yon, kailangan magpatingin.
Nag-iba ba yung treatment kapag maaga na-detect ang breast cancer versus medyo advanced na yung stage?
Oh yes, definitely. Pag maaga siya na-diagnose, less ang treatment. So, syempre, for everybody, yung tinatakutan nila is chemotherapy. If we get it very early, wala nang chemo yan. You just need surgery. Tapos na, minsan may tablet. Hanggang dun lang. But if we wait till late na, talagang may chemo. Minsan yung chemo nauuna before surgery, and then mas maraming pang treatment afterwards, may radiation pa. But if we get it very early, less ang treatment, less ang gastos.
Now let's ask some questions which our viewers have actually come up with regards to breast cancer. Now, our first question here.
May breast cancer history po ang family ko. Ibig sabihin ba na sure na magkakaroon din ako ng breast cancer?
So, hindi yan totoo. Hindi naman porket meron kang relative na may breast cancer, magkaka-breast cancer ka. Remember, only 10% of breast cancers are hereditary. At para malaman kung hereditary type, dapat multiple members of your family meron. Meaning lahat ng auntie mo meron, yung mother mo meron, yung marami talaga. Pero if it's just one member, like you have one aunt or your mother had, it doesn't mean na hereditary type yon. 90% is not.
Our next question now is,
Kapag may lump na nakaapa, automatic ba may breast cancer na?
No, 90%, 80 to 90% is benign. Pero how will you know? Hindi natin malalaman sa kapa eh. So, dapat magpatingin.
and here we have another question.
Mas malaki po ba ang chance magkaroon ng breast cancer kapag laging nakasuot ng bra?
Yan ang isang malaking maling akala. So, that is not true. Bra has nothing to do with breast cancer or its risk, even yung underwire. The whole purpose of underwire bra at saka yung mga tight fitting is for lifting it up, for support. It has nothing to do with breast cancer.
We've been talking about breast cancer and women, and a lot of males might be watching this and think that because I was born a male, I am devoid of any risk for breast cancer, but it can happen to males actually, although a small percentage compared to that of women, but it can happen to males. What are some of the risk factors wherein breast cancer can be seen in males?
Tama yung sinabi mo, it's very rare in males. Only 1% of males get breast cancer. And normally, may nakakapa na bukol. The unfortunate thing is because males are in denial that they could get breast cancer, hindi nila pinapacheck yon. So the lump starts growing and they always think it's nothing. But you know, I have had patients who have breast cancer na male. So the treatment is similar to female, pero kailangan din magpatingin.
Now, before we go, Doctor, we've really learned a lot about breast cancer, especially with its awareness and how awareness and early detection can definitely be a very vital tool for anyone's journey when it comes to breast cancer. What are some of your final messages, some takeaway tips for our viewers?
So definitely, pagdating ng 40 years old, magpa-mammogram and ultrasound tayo yearly, even if wala kang nararamdaman, because this is the only way that we can catch breast cancer early. At pag kinatch natin early at undergo treatment, sigurado mabubuhay ka. This is the only thing that will ensure our survival. So this is what we should be doing. Basta 40 years old, mammogram and ultrasound. Siyempre, pag may nararamdaman, kahit anong age ka, magpatingin. Do not assume na wala lang yan. Kailangan magpatingin.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aldin Astrid Basa, breast surgeon and head of the breast surgery department of Asian Hospital. Thank you for sharing your information and your expertise on MedTalk Health Talk. If you're a breast cancer patient, survivor, wherever you are in your journey, know that there is support and care for you. You do not have to go through this alone. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and thank you for joining us here on MedTalk Health Talk.